Hi everyone, thanks for coming back for part 2. This is part 2 of this video right here where I titled it, Apparently It's Still Summer in the U.S., but Is It Still Summer in Israel? And the reason why this is so exciting to me, apparently it's not exciting to anyone else, but the reason it's so exciting to me is because what I'm realizing is that it's still summer. And the important question is it still summer in Israel? And so that's what I want to show you next. I want to show you the weather in Israel. As you can see over here, this is the current temperature. The current temperature is 79, and I had looked at this yesterday, and it was at 80 degrees yesterday, and you see that there's zero precipitation, so there's no rain in Israel, so the latter rains and the former rains have not started yet. And this over here is the 10-day forecast. So again, you see zero precipitation, so it's very dry, and it's mostly sunny. You see the sun over here, and you see temperatures in the 80s, upper 70s. For the last 7 days, you had up to 90 degrees. And over here it's showing the historical monthly average is 66, but currently it's showing a high of 71. But over here it showed a high of 79 for Thursday, for today, which is the 3rd of November. And like I said, the reason why this is important is because over here in Revelation 14, where it's talking about the summer wheat harvest. I had mentioned this before, but over here where it's saying the earth is ripe, this word right here for ripe, it actually means, this word right here, it means to make dry, dry up, withered. It actually means withered. It's like totally dry. It's actually past the stage of the wheat harvest being ripe. It's at the point where it's dry at this point. It's almost over dry at this point. And then right after that, and it does say this is the time of the harvest, it's the time of the reaping at this time of the earth, when the wheat is completely dry. And then it goes on to talk about the grape harvest and the grapes being fully ripe. And so what I want to show you here is I had checked to see when the wine vintage occurs in Israel, and I came up with this article in Wikipedia. And over here where it talks about climate and geography, it says Israel has a distinctly Mediterranean climate, with the country located along roughly the same latitude as San Diego and Mexico, United States border. There are two primary seasons, a hot, humid summer season running from April to October with very little precipitation, and a cold, rainy winter season from late October to March. During winter, average precipitation is around 20 inches, with some areas seeing as much as 35 inches annually. Some vineyards in the higher elevation regions of Golan Heights can see snow in the winter months. With a dry growing season, drip irrigation is essential to sustaining viticulture. Vineyard managers will utilize pruning and canopy management techniques to maximize shade production from the sunlight. Harvest will often take place during the cooler temperatures of nighttime. The dryness of the growing seasons serves as a protective barrier to many grape diseases that thrive in damp weather, and allows vineyard managers to control vigor and yields by irrigation. Okay, so as you can see here, it's very important to have dry weather during the growing season. You don't want to have damp weather because it can cause grape diseases, and the rain can also ruin the crops. So you don't want to have rain or damp weather during the growing season or the harvest. And that's pretty much what's depicted in these tables as well. But I had done these tables back in August, so I don't remember exactly what was in most of these tables. So I'm just going to have to review it as I go along. But over here you can see when you put in summer wheat, you have 7 matches. And of course 7 is a very important number. And as you can see, summer comes up in the plain text over here, and wheat comes up in ELS form. And this is coming up in Proverbs 10, 4 through 9. And it says, He becometh poor that worketh with a slack hand, but the hand of the diligent maketh rich. He that gathereth in the summer is a wise son, but he that sleepeth in harvest is a son that causeth shame. So it's saying that it's wise to gather wheat in the summer. Okay, this is the second match for summer wheat, and again you see summer coming up in the plain text, and wheat is coming up in ELS form. But over here it's coming up in Proverbs 26:1, and it's basically saying what was stated in the article. It's saying, as snow in summer and as rain in harvest, so honor is not seemly for a fool. So it's not seemly to have snow in the summer or rain during the harvest. Okay, this is the third match for summer wheat, and this one is really interesting because you have wheat coming up here in ELS form, and it's coming up where it says, worship Jehovah in the holy mountain at Jerusalem. And so this pretty much says it all. The holy mountain is Mount Zion. It's the heavenly Jerusalem. And it's saying here that the wheat is going to worship Jehovah in the holy mountain. And then over here you have summer coming up in the plain text. Okay, this is the fourth match, and it's coming up in Daniel 2:35 through 38. And again, it's talking about the summer threshing floors, so this may be given an indication of the timing here as well. And I'm just going to read verse 35. It says, Then was the iron, the clay, the brass, the silver, and the gold broken in pieces together and became like the chaff of the summer threshing floors, and the wind carried them away so that no place was found for them. And the stone that smote the image became a great mountain and filled the whole earth. And of course, the stone would be Jesus that destroys the image, and it's also the stone that crushes the wheat and turns it into powder. And you see the word wheat coming up here in ELS form. Okay, this is the fifth match, and in this one you see the word summer is coming up in the plain text, and the word wheat is coming up in the plain text. But it's really interesting where this comes up, because it comes up in Amos 8, 1 through 5. And so I'm just going to go ahead and read the matrix. It says, Thus the Lord Jehovah showed me, and behold, a basket of summer fruit. And he said, Amos, what seest thou? And I said, A basket of summer fruit. Then said Jehovah unto me, The end is come upon my people Israel. I will not again pass by them any more. And the songs of the temple shall be wailings in that day, saith the Lord Jehovah. The dead bodies shall be many in every place, shall they cast them forth with silence. Hear this, O ye that would swallow up the needy and cause the poor of the land to fail, saying, When will the new moon be gone, that we may sow grain, and the Sabbath, that we may set forth wheat, making the ephah small and the shekel great, and dealing falsely with the balances of deceit? So it's very interesting that it mentions the new moon here, and it's talking about the end is come upon my people Israel. And it's also talking about the summer fruit. And you also have the word wheat coming up in the plain text as well. Okay, and the next match is just a repeat of that one, so I'm just going to go to the one after that. And this is match 7 of 7. So that's interesting that this is the 7th match. And this is coming up in Matthew 24. And of course, we all know that Matthew 24 is the chapter where Jesus talks about the end of the world. And so over here you have the word summer coming up in the plain text, and you have the word wheat coming up in ELS form. And so I'll just go ahead and read the matrix, starting from verse 32 and going through to verse 43. And it says, "Now from the fig tree learn her parable. When her branch is now become tender and putteth forth its leaves, you know that summer is nigh. Even so, ye also know when ye see all these things, know ye that he is nigh, even at the doors. Verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass away till all these things be accomplished. Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my words shall not pass away. But of that day and hour knoweth no man, not even the angels of heaven, neither the Son, but the Father only. And as were the days of Noah, so shall be the coming of the Son of Man. For as in those days which were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until the day that Noah entered the ark, and they knew not until the flood came and took them all away, so shall be the coming of the Son of Man. Then shall 2 men be in the field, one is taken and one is left. 2 women shall be grinding at the mill, one is taken and one is left. Watch therefore, for ye know not on what day your Lord cometh. But know this, that if the master of the house had known in what watch the thief was coming, he would have watched and would not have suffered his house to be broken through." Okay, so that's very interesting that right where it's talking about one being taken and the other one being left, that's where you have the word wheat coming up in ELS form. Okay, and this is the same matrix as the one I just did in Matthew 24, but I had just added a few more terms, and I just want to show you how this comes up. I had added in the words marriage, elect, Leo, stars, and eagle, and the word Leo comes up here in ELS form in the blue, and it's right where it says the sun shall be darkened and the moon shall not give her light. And then you have the word stars coming right under that in the green. Then you have the word elect coming up in the plain text, and summer was in the plain text. And the word eagle is coming up in ELS form in the yellow with the letters E, A, G, L, E. And of course the word eagle has connotations of the rapture. And the other thing that I thought was interesting is how the word wheat comes up right under the word marriage in the plain text. Okay, and that's about all I have time for, but the main point that I wanted to make in this video is that it still is apparently summer in the Northern Hemisphere, and especially in Israel. It still seems to be having summer-like conditions there. There's 2 main seasons in Israel, the summer season and the winter season, which would be the rainy season, where you would get the former and the latter rains, and that hasn't taken place yet. And the other thing I wanted to show you is over here in Zechariah 14, where it talks about summer and winter. It says, "And it shall be in that day that living waters shall go out from Jerusalem, half of them toward the former sea and half of them toward the hinder sea. In summer and winter shall it be." And so I just got really excited by the fact that it's still apparently summer in Israel, in the Northern Hemisphere, and then it's still winter in the Southern Hemisphere. So the conditions are still right for the harvest to take place at any time. The conditions are right concerning world events for the harvest to take place, for Jesus to come back. So if you don't know Jesus, now's the time to get to know him before it's too late. And I just want to thank you for watching this video, and God bless you all.